Hello, and welcome to Diederich Ideas, a student-produced series that explores how ideas can make a difference. Tonight, we take an inside look into the world of comedy. Let's travel down the comic road to wisdom and discover how laughter can be the ticket to new ideas. Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew Pauly, and I'll be your host tonight. Thank you very much. I'm a senior here in the Diederich College of Communications at Marquette University, and this is going to be a blast, so I hope you're ready. Now, comedy is an art form. It's a way of life. It can be as simple as breathing or as complex as rocket science. That sounds interesting, right? Wouldn't it be nice if we had a panel of experts to guide us through this enigma that makes us chuckle, chortle, and guffaw? Well, keep cool, my friends, because this evening we are joined by some of the best in the business. Let's meet our esteemed panel of professional funny makers as we try and answer the question, what's so funny?
Ladies and gentlemen, let's meet tonight's Diederich Ideas panel. Second City alumnus, John Farley. He has his own planet named after him, Chris Mars. Former member of boy band sensation Together, Kevin Farley. Former weatherman, Pat Finn. And from NBC's hit comedy community, Danny Pudi.
Oh, we're doing this now? Okay. Okay, sorry guys. You guys gonna be okay? You gonna be all right in here? Okay, cool. See you later.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you all for joining us tonight to this inside look into the world of comedy. What a good-looking panel, huh?
Well,
Yes.
What do you guys think?
I agree.
no arguments here.
Awesome. Well, first things first, a very general and very relevant question. What makes you all laugh?
Wow.
I gotta
That's
go.
a big one.
Clearly, I was told something clearly. No.
Nothing. All right, so we have nothing and stage fright, and now...
I think, I mean, anything can make you laugh. I think, you know, humor in general is just this very visceral thing. And whether it's like a cat playing with a yarn on YouTube that makes you giggle, or really smartly written, John especially loves that. That would actually be it for John.
That's the apex.
People falling down.
People
falling
falling
down
down.
is the
My
funniest thing
sister
ever.
laughs her head off at people falling down.
She cries.
Cries.
She actually cries with laughter when somebody actually hurts themselves, though.
Yeah.
You know, not like a trip or fall. She laughs at injuries.
Shin
I remember
injuries.
around our house, I'm one of 6 kids, and my dad was very dry in his sense of humor, but it was always people telling stories about their day. And the biggest thing was if you could make a sibling laugh so hard that milk came out of their nose. The beauty of it was you were okay, but the person who laughed had to leave the table. It's like, sorry, you laughed. But that was like always the biggest, like, wow, I made Mickey laugh. Out the nose. That was hilarious.
Chris and I used to do this thing where we do the serious dancing, where we'd be like, you look at each other and completely seriously dance with each other. You know,
Yeah.
the first one to laugh would lose. You know what I mean? So,
That's a good
but to
one.
sit there in front of Chris Farley and try to dance seriously, he'd be going like this.
Come on.
Come on, man.
Do you want to challenge somebody on the panel to a
Do it.
To a serious dance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's.
Anything?
No, I want to see Danny and Chris seriously dance,
Oh,
and the
nice.
first one to laugh loses.
All right.
But you have
I like
to
it.
seriously dance.
Yeah,
Can we get
no.
music to this?
I could beatbox.
Yeah,
We could beatbox.
Yeah.
Ready?
Okay, so,
First one to
I
laugh.
can't. The first one to laugh loses.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to really be serious with each other.
Yeah.
Let me check this out. And no wagering at home either. It's
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
You gotta look at each other.
You gotta look at each other's eyes.
I'm out. We're not fair.
It's hard to do.
It turns sexual immediately.
No.
Immediately.
When the coat came off, I
Ruined
knew
my
it.
jacket.
Yeah.
It was business once the coach.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I think my overall point was you can go from the very. I didn't mean to turn it into America's Funniest Home Videos as the genius of comedy. I was saying I think it could be anything from that, from the ridiculous silliness of that, to the most brilliantly written comedy, film, or television show or play that you might see. I think comedy is just it has no.
But it stems from that right there.
And also, I think everyone has their own preference. People laugh at different things. I like watching people trying stuff and not succeeding.
Right.
I think that's always funny when somebody keeps trying to do something. They keep trying to open a door, and you catch them like outside of a building, and they're still trying. The door's stuck, and you want to help them, but it's also really funny to watch them and see how long it takes to open that door.
Right.
I like watching people who don't know they're being watched, like stalking. I love that.
So hiding in bushes,
That's
binoculars,
hilarious.
everything like that.
War paint.
Ex-girlfriends.
Right.
Yeah. They don't really like it, and legally I can't do it anymore. But
It's still funny.
Yeah. Still.
Getting arrested.
Kevin. Kevin.
It's not funny.
Reality's funny.
yeah, reality,
Unless it
real
gets
stuff.
stale. You can't let it get stale, though. You can't be like, it's reality, but I've seen it before. Yeah, I know it's, you can't, you have to be 110% real. Not 100%, 110% real. You've never seen it before. You're like, wow, that's a true and genuine reaction or emotion to something that's going on. Now that's funny.
The closer you get to reality,
Yes.
Yeah.
funnier it is.
Yeah.
You guys are an improv troupe, right? Together, Danny Pudi
Yes.
and the
Sure,
Avalancheros. For people who don't know what improv is, how would you best explain the art form of improv to those unknowing minds?
You are, each person on stage is their own writer, actor, and director of their own characters in an ensemble on stage. Whereas they are not denying and they are accepting every gift that is given to them by another actor.
Excellent job.
He's our lawyer.
Okay, give it up for him.
That was only,
That took energy.
that took only 6 years of training to remember.
I think improvisation on stage is almost like performing a show or a play instantly in front of an audience, and it's all completely a blank canvas. And you're like an artist or a group of artists creating this thing. And that's what makes it so cool, is because we have no idea where we're going to go. The audience has no idea where we're going to go. We don't know what the suggestion is, but once we get it, we commit wholeheartedly to every scene and every character and try to help out each scene grow and become a huge
And in
show.
performing, I don't think there's any type of performance that's more about supporting the people
Yeah.
you're on stage with, because you have to support the ideas of others and you have to just roll with the punches. As scenes change, you can't deny what's going on. And
No,
so
it's not right.
incredible group
That's
mind.
not right.
Unless, of course,
You can't say no.
Oh.
John's right.
No. What I also want to say is that everything is heightened when you're improvising. Like when you're doing a theater, like in any theater, but nothing's wasted. So any word that's said on stage is not wasted. It's heightened or it's taken to the extreme. So anything you say on stage is considered genius, as they say.
Yeah.
And you heighten it, you explore it, and you make it theater.
And it's also
So-
something we all do. I think you use it in all kinds of ways. Like when in our shows, we create a show that's all pure improvisation. It's an hour long out of nothing. But you use it all the time when you're acting. You use it when you're exploring a character.
Yeah.
You use it when you're a musician, when you're playing. So it's kind of something that everyone uses always. But in our world, we also try to construct an actual cohesive play out of it, or something that makes sense. Yeah.
So how do you train for an improv show versus training for television or live theater? What would be the difference between? Because obviously it's all made up, so you can't practice lines. How do you train your mind to work with those associations that you have to do on stage and work with each
It's
other?
like training. It's like practicing for sports. You can't ever, in sports, you can't ever know what's going to happen in a game. All you can do is prepare yourself for situations and practice with the players around you.
So we do steroids.
Right.
Lots of it.
So when did you know you were funny? When was this epiphany? Was it a parent going, "Oh, Farley boys," or something like that?
Farley boys.
Principal or officer of law.
I think it was
I'm sure they heard that a couple
Farley boys.
It was that expulsion.
Going to jail again.
I'm so distracting, they're kicking me out. I must really be funny.
Must be hilarious. They took away my license. That's hilarious.
Hilarious. Isn't that funny?
So any particular point in childhood or anything where you're maybe a class clown or got a reaction from school or anything like that? Or is it just police officers taking your license?
They help, actually. It's kind of using some of your negatives to turning them into positive.
I think for me, and I think you guys would agree with this. I think that like anybody who's in comedy, a comedian or a comic actor or improviser, you're sort of always struggling with this idea of am I funny? Because we all sort of live for getting that laugh, whether it was in our class or whatever. And I think for me, and this is probably similar for anyone who, somewhere along the line in preschool or kindergarten or something, you said something or did something that made people around you laugh, and that really made you feel good. And it's like, it's sort of, for people who, do this for a living, it's kind of like this drug that you want that laugh. You sort of, and there's different ways to achieve it, obviously, but I think that, I don't know if there's a moment that you knew that, but at some point you got that fix and like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah. It's something like, I remember I would go see shows at Second City, and everyone would laugh, and I would laugh, but I'd also appreciate it and try to figure out what I would have said. Or
Right.
So, and I don't mean this in an odd way, but maybe it's somebody who plays baseball, goes to a baseball game, is like, wow, that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Whereas I just go as a fan, like, oh, you got to.
Yeah, I know.
But
Yeah.
it was something that definitely triggered. Even here when I did a show at the Varsity a long time ago with Chris, we did a show and completely improvised the entire thing, but the crowd went crazy, and it was like for lack of a better word, high, but it was just this great feeling that it felt like I'm supposed to be here. This makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And then Chris and I were like, this is what we're supposed to do, which was just a
And it
really
felt
great
good.
realization. Scary, but real.
But it felt great. It
Yeah,
just
it
feels
did.
good when
Yeah.
you make people laugh.
It also feels really good when you start figuring out how to use that in a specific way.
Yeah.
Because I remember like getting laughs like with the family, but it would be sort of like and be okay, cool, this cuts some tension, this is good. But then you start getting laughs in inappropriate ways because you're like, oh, this is just kind of fun. And then you start figuring out how to use comedy in a way that actually makes sense to whatever's going around and starting to apply it to a story, whether it's theater. Actually, Phyllis, and doing theater here, she was a big influence on me because I remember her saying, I was goofing around a lot in class and stuff, and she was giving me kind of inspiration in terms of like, she's the first one who said, you're kind of like Kramer. And I remember her saying that. And this was back when Seinfeld was huge. And I loved that. But it was also like a specific thing of applying comedy in a way where, I see how it's sort of structured in television, and how you use comedy like an entrance, how you use comedy to sort of like, set tone. So it's kind of fun when you start like getting feedback when it actually makes sense too, and it's not just like, hey, I'm gonna go make fun of or imitate my brother at the dining room table. When I could actually do it in a way where it's part of something bigger too. It's kind of cool when you're building like something. Too.
But it's a release for folks.
Yeah.
If they come to your show and they've had whatever day they've had, and then they just sit there and they relax and they have a good time, and they can get out of whatever day they had, and they can have a laugh or two, and at the end of it they go, thank you for giving me that laugh. That's more rewarding than anything, because you're giving a service, you're doing something for them, and that's rewarding of it in and of itself. It's a great feeling.
It's also a great way to try to make sure you don't get hit by people all the time.
Yeah.
Because most people, a lot of times you're on a subway, it's stressful, it's really tightly packed, and you're nudged up against somebody, and they want to punch you in the face. If you just start going like, they may punch you in the face still. I mean, they may.
But they might giggle.
But you look cute.
But they
too.
might
Right.
giggle.
It's kind of funny.
It's a way to deflate some tension.
And when it works right, you give them that gift of laughter, and they give you real gifts back.
Actual gifts, yeah.
Tangible gifts.
Like frankincense and myrrh.
Gift cards.
Yeah.
Cards, yeah.
Well, I'll write that down on our
Right.
iPad here. Well, that's a perfect transition to our next segment of, how far is too far? When has comedy gotten you, or trying to be funny, gotten you into trouble?
Kevin and John will field that one.
You finally
Sister
No.
Kathleen, Officer Frazier, and my mother could probably be our eyewitnesses.
Well, we were talking about this today.
Yeah.
Because I had a discussion with David Zucker, who did Airplane, and I had a dinner with him the other day, and he goes, let's take it. His object was to take it to the edge, just as far, or you're just insulting enough. But don't insult completely. But insult them enough where it's just to that edge, just right to that edge, but not go over that edge where they're angry at you. Where they're actually angry
So that's
at
the
you.
line.
Yeah.
Is the line that you draw is
Well, that's
when you
the
make
sweet
them
spot
upset.
of the bat that you want to hit. You want to go you don't want to be afraid of insulting people,
Yeah.
but you have to insult them a little bit, but not you know,
The audience
you can't be
ultimately-
afraid not to insult someone.
The audience ultimately would tell you, whatever the audience is
Yeah.
for what you're doing, you're
Yeah.
going to know when you've gone too far. That's the ultimate, I think.
Well, yeah. Those
You can
guys
never
do
lose.
that,
The
you
main
went
thing
too
is you
far.
can never lose your audience.
Right.
You know, you don't want to disrespect them. You know, there's an old saying: treat your audience as if they're poets and geniuses, and they may aspire to be so. But it's to play the height of their intelligence and yours. So I
Right.
think when people go down to that, is I think times when they lose, and that's a wrong move, because I've seen people when they lose an audience, you're like, that's all you got. That's
Well,
like
you went
this.
over the
That's
edge.
bread and
You
butter.
went over the edge.
It's
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
comedy changes so quickly. You know, things that were funny 30 years ago are going to be different than
Right.
they are now. It's because people change, times change, you know, perceptions change. You know, I deal with that every day with Chevy Chase. I mean, and it's just different. You know, we look at the world
Well, that's
differently.
back pills.
You know? Yeah, but it's so. I think that's important. Also, like I think your responsibility as a comedian and artist is to kind of take what the world is giving you right now and your spin on it. What's your spin on it? But also taking what's happening right now. I think that's important too.
Have you ever gone into a situation where you had like the set template of like, maybe a stand-up routine or something like that, and had to bob and weave to the audience? Have you ever had to like completely shift, or just been in a situation with a very unforgiving audience?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And what's that like?
Awful.
It's the worst. There's nowhere to go up here.
So what do you do? Like how do you
Plow
remedy it?
through your act, and you take your money, and you go home.
Talk fast, baby. Let's talk
Yeah,
fast.
you talk fast.
It's
and you get
a
it through.
strange thing. You'll do like a lot of us came from the world of sketch comedy, and you do sketches, and you'll have a house one night, and a certain sketch just kills. Like everybody just loves it, and you do the exact same bit the
Yeah.
next night,
Yeah.
and it's crickets, and you don't understand. It's just like a different. You know, maybe it was you, maybe it was them. And it's a horrible feeling, but it's unexplainable. I mean, it's
Yeah, there's no rhyme or reason to it.
Right.
Yeah, it's just every audience is different.
Yeah.
There's really
Also,
no-
some
Every
people just
section,
don't laugh. That's
some people like don't laugh.
Literally, you'll go to a show and someone will be like, "Hey, your show was hilarious,"
Yeah.
and then they like leave, and you're like, "Okay, that's just how they experience humor."
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
I've had a person heckle me all show, and then go, "I was helping you out there, wasn't I?
Right.
Do you like my input to your act?" I go, "No,
Right.
not at all."
They come up all proud, like,
Yeah.
We should hit the road.
I added on to your joke. Did you see that?
I could do that every night.
Right.
Go to the Quad Cities. We can make this thing.
Half the reason the audience is in the audience is because they want to laugh because they've had a day.
Yeah.
They've had a
Can't say that.
oh.
Are we on public television?
Schmitty Day. He said Schmitty Day. Schmitty.
Farley boys.
It's a.
Thanks a
I
lot
was
for ruining
quiet.
our image.
I was quiet for like 4 minutes. I was like, I'm gonna make what I'm gonna say count, and it's gonna
So the
work.
question was, how do you know when you've gone too far?
Right there.
when the censors come out.
That's when MUTV installed the bleep button.
Do you guys have a bleep button here?
Delay.
You do? Did you use it?
You
just
bleeped
now?
him?
We'll make it happen.
Thank
Is
you.
it just for us? Can we make it happen? We'll fix it in post.
Okay.
Keep it. Now, with that all being said, is there any topic that's off limits aside from swearing at a Marquette University television program? Are there any topics?
Real good.
We've covered a
just-
bunch of them. No, I'll tell you, I was at a stand-up show not too long ago, and one of the comics, funny guy, but he did a whole bit about Whitney Houston, and it was too soon. It wasn't even attacking Whitney Houston, but it was talking about, it was actually comparing her death to it was kind of clever, but too soon. It was encompassing about how Demi Moore must be so happy about Whitney Houston because it has taken her out of the news. And the audience just sounded like this room right now. And you could have looked at it if you had read it. You might said, "Oh, that's clever," but it was too soon.
But I think it's also because she was beloved. She was
Sure.
a beloved person.
Yeah, you're right.
And regardless of her drug use, she was a beloved person. And I think you go after that, you're dead.
Yeah.
You're dead.
Well, and even talking, and part of that was he wasn't in any way, shape, or form making fun of her. But he was referencing her death within weeks of it happening.
Yeah.
That's all they heard. That's all the audience heard.
Yeah,
sure.
He was making a joke about another celebrity, and just when you frame it like that, you lose them.
It doesn't matter how clever you are. After
Right.
that.
You just lost
You
it.
dug a hole. Yeah.
And so I think at any given time, there's always topics that you just can't go there with.
Do you think there's anything else? Like, Is it okay to comment on like another culture, another race if you're not that race?
Well,
Like-
the whole thing is like, even you can attack death, you can attack a celebrity's death. That's fine. You just got to be funny.
Right.
That's the
Yeah.
thing.
You know,
too. There's
that's the
gotta be a
thing. You
take
got to
on
be
it.
funny. You better make sure it's
If you're
funny.
going to talk about Whitney Houston, there's got to be
Right.
something about it
Sure.
that is unique and different, and something that's really poignant or makes
Yeah.
sense, or there's something that no one's paying attention to.
Yeah. You better
and
make smart.
If you're
you better
just
be
bringing
funny.
that up, it's going to be really hard because you already dug yourself a hole.
Yeah. Sure.
So there's got to be something bigger to that.
You can't be just dumb about it.
Same with plain blue, the old term plain blue in
Yeah.
comedy, meaning you're very vulgar or crude, and you know. And I think that for especially like young improvisers or people new to it or young comedians, oftentimes they want to go there and swear a lot or talk about sex or really taboo topics because they think it's going to like shock people. But if you're going to do that, you have to earn it because people smell it so quickly.
Yeah.
It's just
Well,
for the
sometimes it could be a crutch or a cop out.
Right.
Like, I'm just gonna go right to this, or I'm gonna cuss or do something.
All right.
Whoa, no.
All right. I have a crutch.
Hey, there's still time to win him over, right?
Yeah.
Hey.
We'll get him back.
I think the cultural thing is, it depends, because some people just have a higher threshold for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think you just have to be sensitive to certain people and understand, like sometimes, like, oh, someone's just not going to take this well, and then you just got to be prepared for that. You know, different people respond to different, you know, jokes differently. A lot of it is just like knowing your audience, and I think there's also like it's hard to make racial jokes to someone when you're not that race or at someone, you know. So I think that's.
But you also can't be afraid, you know, like what audience is out there. You know what I mean? You're going to get the audience you're going to get, and just have to go through, you know, be